All right, Fox News Alert now closer at home. What are we going to do about Detroit? The Obama administration facing pressure from its liberal base to bail out that city. But Michigan's Republican governor not expecting a federal bailout at all. In fact, is not even asking for one, saying such action would be the wrong way to help the broken city. Detroit's emergency manager, Kevin Orr, on the need for the city's public pension funds to make concessions.
We're going to have a dialogue with the pension funds about what we can do. And there are two different funds, police and fire and general services, and they may have different levels of funding. And all we're talking about in this restructuring is the unfunded component of those pension funds.
That with Chris Wallace yesterday, Stuart Varney today, host of Varney and Company of the Fox Business Network. Sir, good morning to you. It was reported, on Friday, that the emergency manager, Kevin Orr, made an appeal to the White House for a bailout, and they were pretty much given the back of the hand. Would you expect that in these times or not?
First of all, let me give you a time frame. The pensioners, the retirees who used to work for the city of Detroit, 20,000 on them, they're going to get their checks for another 6 months. After that, who knows what they get? Will they take a big cut? That's where the pressure for a bailout or some kind of financial assistance from the Obama administration or somewhere, that's when the pressure really starts to ratchet up. Now, there is pressure to go ahead and provide some kind of help. The mayor, Mayor Bing, he says that there have been some talks with the administration, no deal yet. Stephen Ratner, now he's the car czar who managed the bailout of Detroit 4 or 5 years ago. He says, yes, go ahead, you gotta help Detroit. The unions want help. It's their members who will take a big haircut on the retiree pensions. And a Republican Congressman Huizenga, a Republican from Michigan, he told me on Fox Business that he would be open to help for the city of Detroit. And he's a Republican. So you can see the pressure is mounting, the time frame is limited, and there's a lot of talk about some kind of help being offered at some point.
That is billions and billions of dollars, right?
Well,
is
if
it
it's
15,
just the
is it
pensions,
18, is there 20 billion? What is it?
Well, that's the total debt, $18.5 to $19 billion. The pension portion, the unfunded pension portion, is just over $1 billion. And there's a $5.7 billion worth of health issues as well, health costs going forward. So that's a relatively small amount of money. But I promise you this, Bill, there will be absolutely no help for the creditors. They include European banks who are owed $10 billion. No help for them at all.
What are you finding with other cities now who are facing a similar scenario? Are they finding it more expensive to borrow money because of Detroit, Michigan?
Not yet. Not yet. Everybody expects that the cost of borrowing for other troubled cities will go up, but we've not seen that yet. Detroit's bankruptcy is exceptionally complicated, and it's going to take months, if not years, to find out who gets what. When we find that out, then you may have some impact on other cities.
All right, see you at 9:20 FBN. Stuart Varney leading us off on a Monday. Good to see you. Those pensioners, as Stu mentioned, Detroit city leaders set to meet with the heads of those pension funds, and they are asking a federal judge to hold hearings early this week to validate the bankruptcy and move forward with a strategy for Detroit to discharge much of its estimated $19 billion debt. Of Detroit's overall debt, about half of that, $9.2 billion, represents pension and health benefits that the city has promised retirees. Now the city says it does not have enough money to pay those commitments in full. Also, what happens then next? Detroit's Democratic Mayor David Bing not ruling out a federal bailout from that happening, but he does not expect much help. Again, it's been reported they asked for help and were not given it yet, warning that what's happening to the Motor City is happening in other American cities as well.
And I want to say we're not the only city that's going to struggle through what we're going through. There are over 100 major urban cities that are having the same problems that we're having. We may be one of the first, we are the largest, but we absolutely will not be the last.
While the governor, Rick Snyder, says Detroit's problems are decades in the making, he says it's been kicked down the road for far too long.
This is 60 years of decline. This has been kicking the can down the road for 60 years. And my perspective on it, enough is enough. I think there needs to be more accountability in government. And part of the issue here is let's stand up and deal with this tragic situation and take care of the citizens. And that's what this is all about. This is drawing that line to say, let's stop going downhill. Because if we hadn't declared bankruptcy every continuing day, Detroit would have gone farther downhill. This is an opportunity to stabilize Detroit, and even more importantly, longer term, I'm very bullish about the growth opportunities of Detroit. There's many outstanding things going on in the city with the private sector, with young people moving in the city. It's got great opportunity. The last major obstacle is the city government.
Well, Senator John McCain also talking about this, saying that Detroit's woes points to problems in applying social programs in the past.
When we see the city of Detroit now in largest bankruptcy in history, it's a wasteland. Basically, the city of Detroit is. What's the majority population in the city of Detroit? And that is who suffers the most now in Detroit. Obviously, we know the answer to that. So do we have to continue and emphasize affirmative action programs? Yes, without quotas.
So how will then it pay its bills? Detroit is looking at all possibilities, including selling its valuable art. The city's emergency manager has ordered an appraisal of the 60,000 pieces of art at the Detroit Institute of Arts, sparking fears that its collection could be sold. The Arts Institute says it's upset at the bankruptcy filing and is committed to protecting its collection. Do not know how much they would make on a sale like that, but it's being talked about.